Hey all, 118 Set Shadow here. So, for today we're going to be looking at a variety of items, but for the most part just some generics as well as just things that aren't really moving or kind of went down instead this time around. So the first thing I want to talk about is more generic to a lot of the Divine units, where every single Divine unit has this one booster available to it that ends up becoming a 13k booster as long as the Divine unit's the Vanguard, and then it gets an extra 2k with its second skill somehow to overall make it a 15k booster, if it's boosting the Divine unit itself. So, Impale Horn Dragon is an example of this, where there are still lots of these on the market between its regular double rare, FR, and silver rare at this point. And the same can be said for almost all the other Divine units boosters, and overall there are just lots to pick up. You tend to play 2 to 4 of these depending on which deck it is. Sometimes, most of the time, I feel like you'll just play 4 copies. In my case when I play Reziel, I only play 2 Aerial Sage, but it's quite viable just to play a full 4 just to ensure that it's behind your Vanguard for getting the counter charge. But price-wise, they're not too high. Granted that the Divine units themselves are significantly higher, but then they're triple rare for the most part, versus these that only go up to silver rare. The energy generator's current status. We had the announcement of the Type A, Type B pricing support for the next BCS, which will give us the Masanori energy generator versus the Now energy generator, which I'm pretty sure the general community knows which one is going to be sought after more there. But the thing is that there's really no push for getting the energy generator a lot more accessible. So at this point, there's still the only way to get these generators is through buying the trial decks. And at this point, the generators are still baseline $15 and slowly moving upward for a few different copies that are available. And when it comes to the ones that are available, we only have about 2 to 3 listings for most of them, except for the Stoichia trial deck, which seems to have 7 listings for this available at this point. Flame Leaf Choice Chaotic Dance, Hasuki Remrid. This is one of the new dual nations that came out of Festival 2024, where it's Dragon Empire Stoichia. And this one is one of the ones that's been falling off since the pre-orders, and there are lots of copies available for it right now at 42 listings. Market price is currently $14.45, and it's been selling around $15. Availability is mostly consolidated around $13.50, and then there's also just under $13 plus the shipping and handling after that. So it's getting cheaper overall. It's a strong one overall that can give you a plant token and power, but besides that, yeah, I guess there's no heavy utility for this. Maybe more premium utility at this point. Valtrossa and Liel is one of the bigger ones to pick up right now, where it's Cater Brantgate. There are only 2 listings left on the FFR for this one, and when it comes to the triple rare, it starts off at about $23.50 with a market price just underneath that at $23.36. But there are 29 listings available. Apparently this set was cracked open a whole lot more than I thought it was going to be. I mean, essentially I didn't think there was going to be as much quantity of boxes and cases that were on the market, so I thought things would go pretty fast, but apparently that's not the case, and there are still lots of quantities amongst a lot of the cards in 2024. One of the decks that benefits a lot from Valtross, though, is the Stride deck set for Messiah. So just taking a look where it is right now, there are 4 listings left on the deck set at $70 right now, which is higher than the market price of $63. And then a Sleep Messiah, which is the Crest Generator, is now at $24 base with a market price of $38, so that one had dropped off quite a lot. And everything else is really cheap to pick up. If you want the foil Crest token, or I guess you could say the high rarity of it, that one is currently about $5. and the premium deck set version is around 112 right now with 5 listings. I wouldn't say that I don't think Messiah is going to prop up to the very highs of the meta charts with its new support, but it's certainly going to be a lot stronger than it was before. There's not much movement going on around Touken Ranbu. When you take a look in general, it's just some of the Touken Ranbu rares that keep moving up in terms of best selling. But then you've got things like Forge, which sells sparsely, and then right now it's selling for about $16, $17 with a market price of about $17.44. And overall, the market price has been seeing a decline over time. Availability on it is still out there, but there are only 6 listings overall. It's consolidated around $20 to $25 between different sellers. But ultimately, when you just look at Touken Ranbu and where things are going here, everything is still pretty much the same. Imetsuru Ichimonji is still one of the bigger ones to pick up, along with Urumaru Uninaga. And then you've got the effect front triggers Touken Ranbu rare, Inabago, and the boxes themselves are now a base of about $22, which is still lower than the current market price. There are 9 listings on the boxes, but if we take a look at actual availability, yeah, the lowest listing has 32 boxes available, so there's a lot to unload on this front. Triplex Trick Vanil, which was anticipated to be one of the more popular decks coming out of Set 2, didn't see a really big rise on a lot of its support cards. Vanil herself, the triple rare, is currently $3 base with a market price of $3.69, and it's been selling between $1, $3 for most of its listings, and it's more consolidated at $3 right now. Even if we keep going up from there aren't as many copies on the high end, and still only 2 pages worth. Ultimately, while not a supreme deck in my opinion, Fennel is still a pretty good deck to play in general, and with the new support that it got, it's still capable. Shocking Candy Oris, which is the crit trigger that you get from Trick or Trick, is holding at around $1. Market price is right around there, with the base listing also being $1.20, and 12 listings altogether. It is its own crit trigger with its own artwork, and crit triggers overall are the most popular among all the triggers that you can get in the market, outside of the over trigger, of course. But then the over trigger can only be played as a one-of, whereas players want to be able to play at least 8 crit for almost every deck that's in the format. Even with the announcement of new support last week, Welstra has not been seeing a really big gain in value for a lot of its cards. Right now, its Divine version is at 40 listings for its triple rare at $2 to start off with, and the silver rare is still underneath $10 at this point. When it comes to the FFR, as well as the secret rare that you can pick up, those have not changed hands very much, and the pricing is still about the same as it was before. Ultimately, even with the new support, I don't feel like Welstra gets as much of a... I really don't know how to put it. It's still heavily piece-reliant, which is why I feel like there isn't as much of a big boom on it, but it really requires a lot more testing to see. Ultimately, I'm just not sure it's really going to take off. Blitz Assistant Sortian, the double rare is catching up to the FR's base prices again at $2 on that front, versus $1.75 base on the FR, but the FR's market price is still higher at $3.42 versus $1.81 on the double rare. Then there are also the Stealth Perfect Guards, now that we've got set 3 coming up in one more month. Stealth Dragon Utsuroi, which comes out of the Shiranui deck, is currently at just under 10. It's at $6.68 base, with $6.89 as the market price for the regular version, but if you want the foil, the market price on that one is $10.20, but listings are starting off from $28.24 there. And then you've also got the random box topper for Festival Booster Stealth Fiend Souko, which is a World Origin rare, meaning that only the English format gets this card. This one is $30 base and has been dipping in price for a bit, and now sells for about $32. Consolidation is around 33 and then moves its way up from there. But these are the two stealth perfect guards that you can pick up with the actual discard effect versus the original stealth perfect guard that came out of the first trial deck, where it's just a regular perfect guard that works under any circumstance. And then this Friday, we've got the reveal for Alden, which unfortunately means that the original's probably going to be cast to the side, similar to how we had Zorga and Welstra. Sword that connects heaven and earth is currently 75 cents to pick up with 12 listings overall. If you want the FFR of that, that's $15, and the secret rare is currently about $69. All of which are lower than their current market prices right now. One of the support cards you might want to watch for, though, is Clear Skies Dragon Lightleads, which is a double rare from the same set 13, and is currently underneath $1 to pick up for its market price and base listing. If you want the FR, it's $1 base and $1.44 for its market price. Forbidoll's surrogate has been seeing a lot more presence on the market, and the price has been decreasing. We still don't have any confirmed reprint of this card yet, but ultimately we can see that it's now at $49 compared to the $70 plus that it was for a little while. Market price is currently $62.92, but a lot of listings have just dropped off to $50, and that's where they're consolidated at right now, $50 and $49. And the last card I want to talk about is Exert Dragon, Red Exert Dragon, mainly because this was featured in last week's episode, but ultimately I don't think there's a lot of value in picking this one up outside of the fact that it's just going to be a tank when hitting if you have the overtrigger and drop. But ultimately it's down to 6 listings for its triple rare and 2 listings for its FFR, but the pricing is a little different. It's 201 base for, actually let's take a look at this in a list view. $230 to about $4 to pick up for the triple rare, and then the FFR only has 2 listings left at $20 and $40 respectively. I honestly don't think there's a lot going for it, even with the new DivineZ skill that's come out, but I mean, testing will bring up whether or not it ends up really good or not. In any case, it is moving, and I'd say it's mostly because it just had the feature. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys later.